You know, probably one of the hardest things in this job is to knock on a parent's door and tell them their son or daughter isn't coming home. To see the pain in their face and to understand how that will affect them for the rest of their lives is heart-wrenching. Underage drinking and driving is not only unacceptable, but it can cost them their lives. I think if you talk to every police officer who's made that long walk up the sidewalk to someone's home to tell them their son or daughter will never come home again, I think that they would tell you most of these deaths are totally preventable. And the best person to prevent that is a parent.
Life has consequences. And the talk happens every day of life. What we choose to do, how we choose to do it, who we choose to do it with. And so the talk is ongoing. The talk never ends.
You know, we've always kept an open dialogue with our children. And it's not always been easy, but we've stressed the points that they know are true, and maybe they don't want to hear them, but they sink in. So we've never given up. We've persevered in letting our children know where we stand. We've modeled it ourselves. We don't drink and drive. So we have grounds to speak that truth into our children.
If you have been modeling drinking and driving, don't beat yourself up. Just change. Make a new start.
The talk wasn't hard for me. The earlier you start, the more natural it's going to be. I said, Jera and Garrett, driving while drinking or riding with someone who's been drinking isn't acceptable, ever. Just takes one time. If you mess up, there can be huge consequences. And you have to live with those consequences. And it may not just affect you. I also said, I love you, I trust you. When you love your child, it's not a hard talk to have.
I just want to encourage parents that you do matter. Every child wants to hear from their father and their mother. They want to be encouraged. We raised our children with the value of life, and life is so precious. We've instilled these values into our children and got them to think, why jeopardize this life? Why take a chance and risk the abundance of the life that you have ahead of you?
You have to just believe that they're going to make the right decisions that you're showing them.
So the parents are vital. It's essential that the parents have this conversation with their children. Their children want to hear what the parents have to say.
Parents do matter, and what you have to say to your kids matters. They want to hear from you.
Parents want to be their child's best friend. So you'll hear things like, well, they're going to take his keys away. I can introduce you to parents who lost their son because he got his keys back. Someone can tell you that it's a risk somebody takes and it will only affect them. I can introduce you to parents who lost their daughter getting a ride home, killed by a teen who had ignored the laws and chose to drive drunk. Talking to your kids is never easy on this kind of a subject. It's kind of the tough love thing, but it's really important. A parent having that conversation with their kid not only can save them a lot of worry and grief, but it can save their child's life.
It's not about trust, it's about love. I would tell you as a parent, just start asking questions, because they're getting educated by their peers. And to find out really what's been talked about, you have to ask the questions. I don't think that it's a parent's job to be their kid's friend. But I really think that parents are an example. Your kids are always watching you, and you are models for your kids. So what you say is equally as important as what you do. Even though you're not going to be a friend in the eyes of your kids, your love is displayed by accountability and rules.
The parents are such a key part in preventing these teen deaths. If you think your kid doesn't have access to alcohol, you're sadly mistaken. And the ingredients for tragedy are underage drinking and driving, and either driving that vehicle or being a passenger in that vehicle. It has deadly results. And as a parent, you need to have those tough conversations and let them know what your expectations are. Let them know that this isn't about control. This is about how much you love them. And parents have a tremendous impact, whether they think they're being listened to or not. They do matter. And parents like to think, you know, someday I'll have that conversation. I think there's some parents that wish they had. From my experience and witnessing firsthand when mistakes happen, the best chance to avoid having someone like me or one of our officers knock on their door is to have that tough conversation with your kids. And to do that now, not next week, not next year, but to have that conversation now. Parents matter. Have the talk, and then have it again and again.